The day Earth changed forever started like any other Tuesday morning in 2387. Commander Jiwon Park was drinking her third cup of coffee in the Earth Defense Force Command Center when the alarms began screaming. The massive screens around the AE room lit up with readings that made no sense. Something huge was approaching Earth from beyond Neptune. "Ma'am, we have contact," Lieutenant Sunho reported from his station. His voice cracked slightly. "3 ships, each roughly the size of Manhattan. They're broadcasting on frequencies we've never heard before." Jiwon set down her coffee and walked to the main display. The objects on screen looked nothing like human ships. They were smooth, silver, and moved through space like they owned it. No visible engines, no heat signatures, just pure alien technology that made Earth's best spacecraft look like paper airplanes. "Send the standard first contact message," she ordered. "All languages, all frequencies." Within hours, the response came. Not in words, but in understanding. Somehow the aliens had planted knowledge directly into the minds of every human on Earth. Everyone suddenly knew basic facts about their visitors. They called themselves the Velinari. They spoke for something called the Galactic Council. And they had been watching Earth for quite some time. Captain Do-Yoon Kim was pulled from his vacation to serve as Earth's lead diplomat. He had studied alien contact scenarios for years, but nothing had prepared him for the reality. The Velinari were tall, graceful beings that seemed to glow with their own light. When they spoke, their words appeared in his mind as perfect understanding. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the lead Velinari said during the first meeting. "We are pleased to welcome you to the galactic community. You have reached the necessary technological level for contact." Do-Hyun smiled politely and nodded. "We are honored by your visit. What does joining this community involve?" The Velinari leader, who had identified himself as High Speaker Valdris, gestured elegantly. "You will receive standard mining rights to 3 asteroids in your system. You will also receive a basic translation matrix and navigational data for local space lanes. Your species has been classified as technologically emerging with a threat assessment of 0.3. 0.3, Do-Hyun repeated. "Out. Of what scale?" 10, Valdris replied. "Do not be concerned. Most species begin at this level. The peaceful Zenthari started at 0.2 and have become valued members of our community." What Valdris did not mention was that the Zenthari now served as janitors on Velinari space stations. Do-Hyun accepted the terms with grace and signed the agreement. The humans seemed grateful for the opportunity. They asked few questions and made no demands. The Velinari left feeling satisfied with another simple first contact. They had badly misjudged the human race. Dr. Minji Lee had been waiting in her lab since the first alien ship appeared. As the head of Earth's most advanced technology research division, she had one job: figure out how alien tech worked and make it better. The translation matrix the Velinari left behind was her first target. While the diplomat smiled and made nice, Minji and her team took the device apart piece by piece. They studied every component, every energy pattern, every quantum fluctuation. "It's not actually translating," she explained to her team after the first week. "It's creating a bridge between different types of thinking. Look at these neural interface patterns." Her assistant, Dr. Tae-hyun, leaned over the scanner readings. "If we can reverse engineer this, we could understand how they think, how they really think." "Exactly," Minji smiled. "And if we know how they think, we can predict what they'll do." Meanwhile, engineer Sun Ho-yoon was having the time of his life. The energy signatures from the Velinari ships had been recorded by every sensor Earth possessed. He spent his days and nights analyzing propulsion patterns, shield frequencies, and weapon signatures. "They're not as advanced as they want us to believe," he told his team during a late-night session. "Their technology is impressive, but it follows logical patterns, and anything that follows patterns can be copied." His workshop became a maze of alien tech recreations. None of them worked perfectly yet, but each attempt taught them something new. Sunho had a theory that human engineering, with its focus on efficiency and redundancy, could actually improve on alien designs. 3 months after first contact, the Galactic Council received their first routine report on humanity. The Velinari described them as compliant and grateful for inclusion. Humans had stayed within their solar system, made no aggressive moves, and seemed content with their restricted status. The report failed to mention the massive construction projects happening on the dark side of Earth's moon. It did not discuss the new facilities being built in the asteroid belt. And it certainly did not mention that human ships had already begun testing experimental faster-than-light drives based on stolen Velinari technology. Commander Ji-Wan Park stood in the new lunar command center, watching construction robots work around the clock. The facility would be invisible to most alien sensors, built into natural moon rock formations and shielded by technology adapted from Velinari stealth systems. "How long until the first test flight?" she asked. Chief Engineer Wu Jin looked up from his tablet. "The prototype should be ready in 6 weeks. We've improved the alien drive system by 30% efficiency." "Improved it? Humans build things to last and work in bad conditions," Wu Jin explained. "Alien tech is elegant but fragile. We made it tougher." Ji-Wan nodded. Humans had always been good at taking other people's ideas and making them better. Now they were doing it with technology from across the galaxy. The Velinari had made a critical error in judgment. They saw humans as just another primitive species that would accept their assigned place in the galactic order. They expected gratitude, compliance, and slow development under careful alien guidance. What they got instead was a species that smiled politely, said thank you, and immediately began planning to take everything the aliens had to offer and make it their own. The humans had learned long ago that the best way to deal with someone who underestimated you was to let them keep underestimating you until it was too late to matter. 6 months after first contact, the Galactic Council's files still listed humanity as low-priority monitoring. The Velinari rarely bothered to check on Earth, confident that the humans were safely contained in their little solar system. They had no idea that human ships were already moving through deep space, invisible to alien sensors, mapping trade routes, and studying every alien species they could find from the shadows. The galaxy had awakened something dangerous, but they would not realize their mistake for quite some time. 2 years had passed since the Velinari first arrived at Earth. The Galactic Council believed humans were still learning to use their basic translation devices and mining equipment. They were completely wrong. Admiral Kyungmin Choi stood on the bridge of the Defiant, humanity's first true interstellar warship. The ship moved through hyperspace like a knife through silk, its hull gleaming with technology that had never existed before first contact. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency, monitoring systems that combined human engineering with alien science. "Admiral, we have reached the Kepler system," reported Navigation Officer Nyan. "No alien ships detected in the area." Ki Young-min nodded. "Begin deep scan protocols. I want to know everything about this system. Resources, habitable planets, defensive positions." The Defiant was not alone. 12 other human ships moved through different parts of the galaxy, all invisible to alien sensors. Each ship was a masterpiece of reverse engineering and human innovation. They looked nothing like the clunky vessels Earth had possessed 2 years ago. Dr. Minji Lee's breakthrough had made it all possible. Her team had not only figured out how Velinari technology worked, but had found ways to make it better. Human, faster-than-light drives were now 30% more efficient than the originals. Human shields could absorb twice as much damage, and human stealth systems were so advanced that they could hide entire fleets from alien detection. Back on Earth, Ambassador Hiram Song was having tea with High Speaker Valdris. The Velinari had requested this meeting after receiving some troubling reports from their border monitoring stations. "We are concerned about some unusual readings our sensors have detected," Valdris said, his mental voice carrying notes of confusion. "There appear to be unknown ships in several restricted zones." Hiram sipped her tea calmly. "That is indeed troubling. What kind of ships?" "We are not certain. The signatures are unlike anything in our databases. Some of our analysts believe they might be human vessels, but that seems impossible given your current technology level." Hiram looked genuinely puzzled. "I assure you, High Speaker, that the Earth government has strict policies about space travel. All of our ships remain within the Sol system as agreed." "Then how do you explain these readings?" Hieram set down her teacup thoughtfully. Well, I suppose there could be rogue elements. You must understand that humans are not as unified as the Velinari. We have many different groups, and some of them do not always follow official policies. Valdris became more concerned. Rogue elements with faster-than-light capability? It is possible some groups have been experimenting with the technology you provided, Hiram admitted reluctantly. Perhaps the Galactic Council should reconsider our restricted status. If we were allowed to patrol these areas officially, we could help maintain order. The suggestion planted exactly the seed Hiram intended. Rather than seeing human expansion as a threat, Valdris began to view it as a control problem that required human cooperation to solve. What Valdris did not know was that every one of those rogue ships was part of a carefully planned operation. Captain Taehyun Woo commanded the exploration fleet that was systematically mapping every trade route, every strategic position, and every weakness in the galactic infrastructure. From the bridge of his ship, the Explorer, Taehyun watched his crew work. They moved like ghosts through space, appearing long enough to scan and record, then vanishing before any alien patrol could respond. Captain, we have completed mapping of the Arcturus trade corridor, reported his science officer, Jinwoo. 17 worlds, 6 major shipping lanes, and 3 strategic choke points. Defensive capabilities? Minimal. The aliens rely on treaties and cooperation rather than military strength. Most cargo ships are completely unarmed. Taehyun smiled. The aliens had built their civilization on the assumption that all species would follow the same peaceful patterns they preferred. They had no understanding of human strategic thinking or the concept of total war. Upload all data to the network. Move to the next system. The Explorer faded back into hyperspace, leaving no trace it had ever been there. Meanwhile, engineer Sun Ho-yoon had moved his operations to a hidden facility in the Kuiper Belt. The base was built inside a hollow asteroid, completely invisible to alien sensors. Inside, hundreds of humans worked around the clock building the ships that would change everything. Production report, Sunho called to his assistant, Yoonji. 47 ships completed this month, she replied. The new assembly line is working perfectly. We should hit 60 per month by next quarter. Each ship was better than the last. Human engineers had a talent for continuous improvement that alien species seemed to lack. Where the Velinari built elegant but unchanging designs, humans built adaptable platforms that could be upgraded and modified for any mission. The Galactic Council received another routine report from the Velinari. Humans remained cooperative and contained. There had been some minor incidents with rogue vessels, but Earth's government was working to address the problem. The report recommended maintaining current monitoring levels. What the report did not mention was that human ships now regularly traveled to systems the Galactic Council did not even know existed. They had found abandoned worlds, hidden resources, and most importantly, other species that had been forgotten or ignored by the galactic community. Commander Ji-won Park reviewed the latest intelligence reports in her lunar office. The data was overwhelming. Human ships had now visited over 200 star systems. They had made contact with 47 different species, and they had discovered something the Galactic Council had been hiding. Show me the Kralith data again, she said to her intelligence chief, Minho. The holographic display showed a massive empire on the far side of the galaxy. The Kralith controlled hundreds of worlds and possessed a military that dwarfed anything in the known galaxy. Yet the Galactic Council had never mentioned them to humanity. Why would they hide this? Minho wondered aloud. Ji-won studied the data carefully. Because they're afraid. The Galactic Council isn't the peaceful organization they pretend to be. They're a protection racket. They keep smaller species safe from threats like the Kralith in exchange for obedience. And we were never supposed to find out. Exactly. But now we have. Ji-won stood and walked to the window overlooking the hidden lunar shipyards. Dozens of warships were under construction, each one more powerful than anything the Velinari possessed. Ma'am, what are your orders? Ji-won continued watching the shipyard activity. Continue current operations. Map everything, learn everything, prepare everything, and make sure the Galactic Council continues to think we're just a bunch of grateful primitives playing with mining equipment. The Velinari had made a fundamental mistake about human nature. They assumed that a species given a small gift would remain grateful and contained. They did not understand that humans viewed every gift as a down payment on something much larger. Within 6 months, human ships would be operating in every major star system. Within a year, they would have detailed intelligence on every species in the galaxy, and when the time came to reveal themselves, the galaxy would discover that the quiet little species from Earth had become something far more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. The storm was building. But for now, it remained silent, as thunder, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The attack on Kepler 442b came without warning on a cold Tuesday morning. The human colony there was supposed to be a secret, hidden from alien eyes and protected by advanced stealth systems, but the Kralith Empire had found them anyway. Colonist Doyen was tending his crops when the sky turned red. Massive warships descended from orbit, their hulls black as space and bristling with weapons. The Kralith had come to claim another world for their empire, expecting to find helpless farmers with primitive technology. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Colonel Jamin Park received the distress signal in his command bunker buried beneath the colony's main settlement. The automated defense systems had already activated, but they would not hold for long against 200 Kralith warships. All units, this is Colonel Park, he broadcast on the emergency frequency. Execute Protocol 7. Repeat. Execute Protocol 7. Across the colony, hidden weapon systems emerged from underground bunkers. What looked like simple farming equipment transformed into particle cannons. Innocent storage buildings opened to reveal missile launchers. The entire colony had been built as a fortress disguised as a peaceful settlement. The first Kralith landing craft touched down expecting to face scared farmers. Instead, they met coordinated military resistance from soldiers who had trained for this moment their entire lives. The Kralith were tough fighters with superior numbers, but they had never faced anything like human tactical doctrine. Captain Nyan led her squad in a fighting retreat through the colony streets. The Kralith were bigger and stronger than humans, but they fought like individuals. Humans fought as a single organism, each soldier knowing exactly where the others would be and what they would do. Nyan to command, she radioed while ducking behind a burning vehicle. Enemy forces are advancing on sectors 4 through 7, requesting immediate orbital support. Stand by, came the reply. Cavalry is coming. High above the planet, space began to ripple. One by one, human warships materialized from hyperspace. Not the small exploration vessels the galaxy had occasionally glimpsed, but true ships of war built for one purpose. Total victory. The Indomitable led the fleet, Admiral Kyungmin Choi commanding from its bridge. The ship was 3 times the size of the largest Kralith vessel and carried weapons that had never been seen in galactic warfare. This is Admiral Choi of the Earth Defense Force, he broadcast on all frequencies. You have attacked a human colony. Surrender immediately or face the consequences. The Kralith fleet commander's response came as a burst of plasma fire aimed at the Indomitable. The attack struck the ship's shields and scattered harmlessly into space. I was hoping you would say that, Admiral Choi said quietly. All ships open fire. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, each ship covering the others while delivering devastating firepower. They used tactics that combined ancient Earth naval warfare with cutting-edge space combat doctrine. The Kralith had numerical superiority and centuries of military experience, but they fought like they always had, with direct assaults and overwhelming force. Humans fought like humans had always fought, with creativity, adaptability, and an absolute refusal to accept defeat. General Yuna Lim watched the battle from Earth's command center, coordinating the defense from 40 light-years away. Real-time communication had been another human improvement to alien technology, allowing instant coordination across vast distances. Second Fleet, move to intercept the Kralith reinforcements approaching from the outer system, she ordered. 4th Squadron, protect the colony ships evacuating civilians. The human ships moved like wolves around the larger Kralith fleet. They struck at weak points, disabled key systems, and vanished before the enemy could respond effectively. Each attack was precisely planned and perfectly executed. Captain Wu Jin commanded one of the smaller human vessels, the Predator. His ship carried experimental weapons based on captured Kralith technology, but improved with human engineering principles. Target their command ship, he told his weapons officer Minji. Fire when ready. The Predator's main gun unleashed a concentrated beam of energy that punched through the Kralith flagship's shields like they were paper. The massive enemy vessel erupted in flames and began falling toward the planet below. The battle lasted 7 hours. When it ended, the Kralith fleet was completely destroyed. 200 warships reduced to debris floating in space around Kepler 442b. Human losses: 12 ships damaged, 0 ships destroyed, 47 casualties. But the real shock came when Admiral Choi addressed the galaxy. "This is Admiral Choi of the human fleet," he broadcast on all galactic frequencies. "The Kralith Empire attacked our colony today. We defended ourselves. Any other species considering similar action should study the results carefully." The message was received by monitoring stations across the galaxy. For the first time, the galactic community heard humans speak not as grateful newcomers but as equals demanding respect. The Galactic Council called an emergency session within hours. High Speaker Valdris stood before the assembled representatives, his usual composure completely gone. "The humans have defeated the Kralith Empire," he announced. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers and alarmed discussions. "An entire Kralith battle fleet has been destroyed with minimal human losses." Council member Zaris, representing the ancient Tholian Confederacy, spoke first. "How is this possible? Our intelligence indicated humans possessed only basic technology." "Our intelligence was wrong," Valdris replied. "Very wrong." The truth was becoming clear to everyone in the chamber. Humanity had not been slowly developing within their solar system. They had been growing stronger, building fleets, and preparing for exactly this kind of conflict. The primitive species had been playing a game the aliens did not even know existed. On Kepler 442b, Colonel Jamin Park surveyed the aftermath of the battle. Kralith debris littered the landscape around his colony, but the human settlement remained, largely intact. His soldiers moved efficiently through the area, collecting alien technology and tending to the wounded. "Sir," Captain Neon reported, "we have found something interesting in the wreckage of their command ship." She led him to a section of twisted metal where human tech specialists were examining Kralith computer systems. The data they found would change everything humanity thought they knew about galactic politics. They were not acting alone, the lead technician Sunho explained. The Kralith Empire has been working with other species. This attack was coordinated with at least 6 different alien governments. Jamin studied the data carefully. The Galactic Council had not just hidden the existence of the Kralith Empire. They had been using them as a weapon to control other species through fear. "Send this data to Earth immediately," he ordered. "Command needs to know that we are not dealing with isolated threats." The galaxy had awakened something they did not understand. Humans were not just another species to be managed and controlled. They were apex predators who had spent their entire evolutionary history learning to fight, survive, and win against impossible odds. The Kralith Empire had learned this lesson too late. The question now was whether the rest of the galaxy would be smart enough to learn from the Kralith mistake, or if they would need to discover human capabilities the hard way. The age of human containment was over. The age of human expansion had begun. News of the Kralith defeat spread across the galaxy faster than hyperspace travel. Within days, every major species had received detailed reports of how humans had destroyed an empire that had terrified the galaxy for millennia. The reaction was immediate and dramatic. Ambassador Jinwoo Han had been Earth's minor diplomatic representative to the Galactic Council for 2 years. He spent most of his time in small offices handling paperwork that nobody important ever read. That changed the morning after the Battle of Kepler 442b. Ambassador Han, his secretary Sora, announced breathlessly, You have 17 meeting. Requests from major council members. The Velinari want to schedule immediate talks. The Zenthari are offering exclusive trade agreements. Even the Tholian Confederacy wants to open diplomatic relations. Jinwoo looked up from his coffee and smiled. For 2 years, these same species had barely acknowledged human existence. Now they were competing for his attention like merchants at a market. Schedule them all, he said calmly. But make sure they understand we are very busy people now. The change in galactic attitude was not limited to diplomacy. Captain Taehyun's exploration ships, which had spent years hiding from alien patrols, suddenly found themselves welcomed at ports across the galaxy. Species that had once reported human ships as suspicious contacts now sent friendly greetings and invitations to visit. Captain, his communications officer Yoonji reported during their approach to the Vega system, the local government is requesting permission to host a formal reception in our honor. 6 months ago, they tried to have us arrested for unauthorized system entry, Taehyun replied. Now they want to throw us a party. Fear is a powerful motivator. Yoonji observed. She was right. The galaxy had not suddenly developed respect for humanity. They had developed fear of human capabilities, and fear made excellent diplomatic leverage. The Galactic Council called another emergency session. This time, however, they sent a formal invitation to Earth requesting human representation. President Sora Kim received the invitation while reviewing the latest intelligence reports from across the galaxy. They want to meet with us as equals, she told her cabinet, after 2 years of treating us like children who needed supervision. Defense Minister Ji-won Park leaned forward in her chair. Our fleet positions are excellent. We have ships in every major system and complete intelligence on all council species. If they try anything aggressive, we can respond immediately. They will not try anything aggressive, President Kim replied. They are too afraid. The question is what they will offer us to prevent further human expansion. The answer came during the formal council session. President Kim entered the Great Chamber of the Galactic Council as an equal member for the first time. The massive room held representatives from hundreds of species, but all eyes focused on the human delegation. High Speaker Valdris opened the session with unusual formality. We welcome President Kim of the human species to this emergency council session. Recent events have required us to reconsider the galactic status of humanity. President Kim stood to address the assembly. She had practiced this speech for years, knowing that someday she would need to speak to the galaxy as the representative of a major power. Thank you, High Speaker. Humanity appreciates this opportunity to participate in galactic governance. We look forward to contributing to peace and stability throughout the galaxy. Her words were diplomatic and polite, but everyone in the chamber understood the subtext. Humans were no longer asking for permission to participate in galactic affairs. They were announcing their intention to help shape those affairs, whether the council liked it or not. Council member Zaris of the Tholian spoke next. President Kim, the recent conflict with the Kralith Empire has raised questions about human military capabilities. The council would appreciate transparency regarding your fleet strength and territorial ambitions. President Kim smiled politely. Humanity has no territorial ambitions beyond ensuring the safety of human colonies and trade routes. As for our military capabilities, they are sufficient to defend human interests. The non-answer was perfectly calculated. She gave them no useful information while making it clear that human military strength was not up for negotiation or limitation. Admiral Seon-woo Park commanded the human fleet positioning that was happening during the diplomatic talks. His ships were not threatening anyone directly, but they were making their presence known throughout the galaxy. Human vessels appeared near major trade routes, strategic jump points, and important worlds, not occupying or attacking, just present. Admiral, the Andorian government is asking why we have 3 ships in their outer system, reported his communications officer, Do-hyun. Tell them we are conducting routine patrols to ensure the safety of galactic trade routes, Admiral Park replied. We are simply being good galactic citizens. The Andorians, like everyone else, understood the real message. Human ships could appear anywhere in the galaxy at any time. No system was beyond human reach, and no species was safe from human attention if they chose to make themselves a problem. The diplomatic negotiations continued for days. The Galactic Council offered humanity full citizenship, unlimited trade, rights, and representation in all major galactic institutions. In exchange, they wanted assurances that humans would respect existing territorial boundaries and work within established galactic law. President Kim's response was carefully crafted, to sound cooperative while committing to nothing. Humanity is committed to peace and cooperation. We will respect all reasonable territorial claims and work within galactic law, as long as that law treats all species fairly and equally. The key word was reasonable. Humans would decide what territorial claims were reasonable, and they would determine whether galactic law was being applied fairly. The Council had no choice but to accept these terms. Behind the diplomatic theater, the real changes were already happening. Human corporations were opening offices on alien worlds. Human traders were establishing new shipping routes. Human explorers were claiming uninhabited systems for Earth colonization. Dr. Minji Lee had moved her research operations to a massive new facility on Mars. Her team was no longer just studying alien technology. They were improving it, combining it with human innovations and creating hybrid systems that surpassed anything in the galaxy. The new hyperdrive prototypes are ready for testing, she reported to Earth Command. Our ships will be able to travel 3 times faster than any alien vessel. And the weapon systems? Asked General Yuna Lim. Completed last week. Our new plasma cannons can penetrate any known shield system. The aliens have no defense against them. The galaxy was being quietly reshaped around human capabilities. Trade routes were redirected through human-controlled space. Diplomatic alliances were restructured to accommodate human interests. Species that had dominated galactic affairs for millennia found themselves adapting to human preferences and human schedules. The most shocking change came when the Galactic Council voted to restructure its leadership. For the first time in galactic history, a human representative was elected to the Council's executive board. Ambassador Jin Wuhan, who had spent 2 years filing paperwork in small offices, suddenly found himself as one of the 5 beings who governed the galaxy. How did this happen so quickly? High Speaker Valdris asked his advisors after the vote. Fear. His intelligence chief replied simply. Every species is afraid of being the next Kralith Empire. They want humans on their side, not working against them. The transformation was complete. In less than 6 months, humanity had gone from restricted newcomers to major players in galactic governance. They had not conquered anyone through direct military action. They had simply demonstrated that conquest was possible, and then offered partnership as an alternative. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson about human nature. Humans did not just want to survive, or even to thrive. They wanted to win, and they would reshape entire civilizations to achieve victory. The age of alien dominance over galactic affairs was ending. The age of human leadership had begun, whether the galaxy was ready for it or not. Dr. Minho Chang had always been fascinated by the things that existed between the stars. While other scientists studied planets and suns, he explored the empty spaces where dark matter drifted like invisible oceans. His breakthrough came on a quiet Thursday morning that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Director Chang, his assistant Nayan called excitedly from across the laboratory. The dark matter containment field is holding steady. We have achieved stable integration with the fusion matrix. Minho looked up from his calculations and felt his heart race. After 3 years of work, they had finally done it. They had learned how to weaponize dark matter itself, creating weapons that could destabilize entire solar systems. It was the kind of technology that could end civilizations. Run the power calculations again, he ordered. I want to be absolutely certain before we inform Earth Command. The numbers were terrifying. A single dark matter torpedo could collapse a star. A squadron of ships equipped with these weapons could destroy multiple worlds in hours. It was power beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. But Minho understood something about human nature that his alien counterparts did not. The most effective weapon was often the one you never had to use. Fear could accomplish more than actual destruction, and the galaxy was about to learn what real fear meant. Within weeks, carefully leaked information about the Dark Matter Project reached intelligence agencies across the galaxy. The rumors spread like wildfire. Humans had developed planet-killing weapons. Earth possessed technology that could end entire species. The stories grew with each telling, becoming more frightening and more dramatic. Captain Neon Kang commanded one of the human exploration vessels that helped spread these rumors. Her ship, the Whisper, would appear in remote systems, conduct mysterious scans, and disappear before local authorities could respond. Each appearance fueled more speculation about human capabilities. Captain, her science officer Taehyun reported during one such mission, local defense forces are trying to intercept us. Should we engage? No need, Neon replied calmly. Let them chase us for a few minutes, then jump to hyperspace. Make sure they get some good sensor readings of our ship first. The psychological warfare was devastating. Species across the galaxy began looking over their shoulders, wondering if that innocent-looking human freighter was carrying weapons of mass destruction. Trade routes changed as aliens avoided systems with human presence. Diplomatic negotiations became more favorable to human interests as other species tried to avoid becoming targets. Fleet Admiral Dongyun Shin had restructured humanity's entire military doctrine around this new reality. Gone were the days of defensive positioning and reactive strategies. Human fleets now operated on the principle of overwhelming technological superiority, backed by unpredictable tactics. The old rules of galactic warfare no longer apply, he explained to his senior officers during a strategy meeting on Luna Base. We are not just fighting with better ships and weapons, we are fighting with better thinking. His staff studied the new tactical manuals that combined every military conflict in human history with cutting-edge space combat doctrine. Humans had learned from Alexander the Great, Napoleon Bonaparte, Sun Tzu, and every other great military mind in human history. Now they applied those lessons to galactic warfare. Commander Wu Jin led the first demonstration of the new human military philosophy. His task force intercepted a pirate fleet that had been raiding shipping lanes near human space. The pirates expected a conventional battle with energy weapons and boarding actions. Instead, they faced something completely unprecedented. Human ships used coordinated swarm tactics, electronic warfare systems that scrambled enemy communications, and weapons that attacked multiple targets simultaneously. The entire pirate fleet was disabled in 12 minutes without a single human casualty. But the real innovation was what happened after the battle. Instead of destroying the pirate ships, the humans studied them. They analyzed every component, every tactical decision, every weakness they had exploited. Each battle became a learning experience that made the next battle easier. We are not just defeating our enemies, Admiral Shin explained in his report to Earth Command. We are evolving faster than they can adapt. Every conflict makes us stronger, while making them more predictable. The galaxy was beginning to understand that they faced something unprecedented. Humans did not just win battles through superior technology. They won through superior learning. Each engagement taught them something new that could be applied to future conflicts. The Andorian Trade Federation learned this lesson the hard way when they attempted to block human expansion into what they considered their territory. They assembled a coalition of 12 species and demanded that humans respect traditional territorial boundaries. President Sora Kim's response was swift and decisive. Instead of negotiating, she deployed human fleets to every major system controlled by coalition members, not to attack, but to observe and record everything they saw. We are conducting routine security patrols, she announced to the galactic media. Recent pirate activities have made it necessary to increase human presence throughout the region. The coalition forces found themselves under constant observation by human ships that appeared and disappeared without warning. Their communications were monitored, their supply lines were mapped, and their defensive capabilities were analyzed in detail. Within a month, the coalition collapsed. Each member species realized that humans knew everything about their military capabilities, their trade routes, and their strategic weaknesses. Fighting such an enemy would be suicide. The Velinari, who had first made contact with humanity, requested a private meeting with President Kim. High Speaker Valdris arrived on Earth with a small diplomatic escort, his usual confidence replaced by obvious concern. "President Kim," he said during their meeting in the rebuilt United Nations building, "the Velinari wish to discuss the current trajectory of human expansion." "Of course," President Kim replied politely. "What concerns do you have? Your species has changed dramatically since our first contact. The humans we met 5 years ago were grateful for inclusion in the galactic community. Now you seem determined to reshape that community according to your preferences." President Kim considered her words carefully. "Humanity has indeed grown and learned much in recent years. We have discovered that the galaxy is not the peaceful place we were initially led to believe. We have adapted accordingly. By developing weapons that could destroy entire civilizations? By developing the capability to defend human interests against any threat," she corrected. "We hope such capabilities will never be needed, but we will not be caught defenseless again." Valdris understood the message. The naive species that had signed his original agreement no longer existed. In their place stood something far more dangerous and far more capable than anything the galaxy had ever encountered. The transformation was complete. Humanity had evolved from grateful newcomers to apex predators in less than 5 years. They possessed technology that surpassed anything in the galaxy, military doctrine that made them nearly unbeatable in combat, and most importantly, the will to use both without hesitation. The galaxy had awakened something ancient and primal in the human species. The same survival instincts that had driven them to dominate their own world, now focused on dominating the stars themselves. Other species talked about conquest and expansion, but humans understood something deeper. They understood that true dominance came not from ruling others, but from making others want to be ruled. Fear was just the first step in that process. The galaxy was about to learn what came next. Commander Unji-Ryu stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, humanity's new flagship, watching history unfold before her eyes. Through the massive viewports, she could see representatives from across the galaxy arriving for the most important political event in millennia. Today, the old Galactic Council would formally dissolve itself and transfer authority to the new Terran Galactic Alliance. It had taken exactly 5 years since first contact for humanity to achieve complete dominance over galactic civilization, not through conquest or destruction, but through something far more effective, making themselves indispensable to galactic peace and prosperity. "Ma'am," her communications officer Do-hyun reported, "the Velinari delegation has arrived. High Speaker Valdris is requesting permission to come aboard." Yoonji smiled. 5 years ago, Valdris had treated humans like primitive children who needed guidance. Now he requested permission to enter human space like any other minor dignitary. "Grant. Permission. Escort him to Conference Room Alpha." The transformation had been remarkable to witness. Species that once looked down on humanity now competed for favorable positions in the new galactic order. The Zenthari offered their industrial capabilities to human corporations. The Tholians shared their ancient archives with human scholars. Even the proud Andorians served as junior partners in joint ventures with Earth companies. President Hanel Cha prepared for her address to the galaxy from New Geneva Station, humanity's first interstellar capital. The massive space station orbited between Earth and Mars, a symbol of human engineering prowess that could house 10 million beings from dozens of different species. Her speech would be broadcast to every inhabited world in the galaxy, marking the formal beginning of the new age of human leadership. But the real work had been completed months ago through careful negotiation, strategic positioning, and the ever-present reminder of human military capabilities. "Madam President," her Chief of Staff Jin Woo informed her, "all galactic networks are ready to receive your address. Estimated audience, 4.7 trillion beings across 837 worlds." Hanel nodded. Never in human history had one person spoken to so many intelligent beings at once. The responsibility was overwhelming, but she was ready. "Citizens of the galaxy," she began, her words translated into thousands of languages simultaneously. "Today marks not the end of one government and the beginning of another, but the evolution of galactic civilization itself. Her speech spoke of cooperation, mutual prosperity, and peaceful coexistence between all species. She promised that the new alliance would protect the rights of every member world and ensure fair trade throughout the galaxy. What she did not need to mention was the military force that guaranteed these promises. Human fleets now patrolled every major trade route. Human bases existed in strategic locations throughout the galaxy, and human weapons technology remained decades ahead of anything their allies possessed. Captain Woojin Park commanded the new Galactic Enforcement Division, the military arm of the Terran Galactic Alliance. His ships were crewed by volunteers from dozens of species, but the command structure remained firmly in human hands. Captain, his Velinari tactical officer, reported, "We are receiving distress signals from the Outer Rim. Pirate attacks on the Kepler trade route." "Respond immediately," Woojin ordered. "Full battle group deployment. Make sure the pirates understand that attacking Alliance shipping carries serious consequences." The response was swift and overwhelming. Human warships arrived at the scene within hours, their alien crew members working alongside human officers with perfect coordination. The pirates found themselves facing firepower and tactical expertise they could not hope to match. But the real message was sent to the galaxy watching these events unfold. The Alliance would protect its members, but protection came with a price. Loyalty to human leadership and acceptance of human authority in all matters of galactic security. Dr. Minji Lee had moved her research operations to a new facility on Titan that employed scientists from 40 different species. The combination of human innovation with alien expertise was producing technological breakthroughs at an unprecedented pace. Director Lee, her Tholian colleague Zeranash, reported, "The new hyperdrive designs are complete. Ships equipped with these systems will be able to travel anywhere in the galaxy in less than a day." Minji studied the specifications with satisfaction. Human-led research teams were not just improving existing technology, they were creating entirely new fields of science. Within a generation, the gap between human capabilities and everyone else would be insurmountable. The economic transformation was equally dramatic. Human corporations now controlled the majority of interstellar trade. Earth's banks financed major construction projects on hundreds of worlds. Human currency had become the standard for galactic commerce. Ambassador Tai Hyun managed trade negotiations from his office on New Geneva Station. Species that had once ignored human economic interests now competed desperately for access to human markets and human technology. The Andorian Trade Federation is offering exclusive mining rights to 17 systems in exchange for advanced manufacturing licenses, his aide Sora reported. "Counter with mining rights to 25 systems plus priority access to their shipping networks," Taehyun replied. "Make it clear that this is our final offer." The Andorians would accept, just as every other species had learned to accept human terms. The alternative was economic isolation in a galaxy where human approval determined success or failure. 5 years after first contact, the galaxy had been completely restructured around human preferences and human interests. It had happened so gradually that many species barely noticed the transition. One day they were dealing with grateful newcomers. The next day they were junior partners in a human-dominated alliance. The key had been understanding that true power came not from forcing others to obey, but from making them want to obey. Humans offered protection, prosperity, and stability in exchange for loyalty and cooperation. Most species found this to be an acceptable trade. Those who did not accept the new order simply found themselves increasingly isolated and irrelevant. Their trade routes were bypassed by Alliance shipping. Their technological development fell behind Alliance standards. Their diplomatic influence diminished until they became footnotes in galactic affairs. Commander Jiwon Park, now director of Alliance Intelligence, reviewed the latest reports from across the galaxy. Every major decision made by alien governments was known to human authorities before it was implemented. Every potential threat was identified and neutralized before it could develop. "Director," her analysis chief Nyan reported, "the quarterly stability assessment is complete. No credible threats to Alliance authority detected in any sector." Jiwon nodded with satisfaction. The galaxy had finally achieved true peace and stability under human guidance. Wars between species had become impossible when humans controlled the weapons and resources necessary to fight them. Trade disputes were resolved quickly through human mediation. Exploration and development proceeded according to human-designed plans that benefited everyone. The transformation was complete, but it was also just the beginning. Human colonies were spreading to new systems every month. Human influence was expanding into previously unexplored regions of the galaxy. And human technology continued to advance at a pace that left other species struggling to keep up. The title had proven prophetic in ways the original Galactic Council could never have imagined. To the galaxy, humanity truly did stand colossal, not as conquerors or destroyers, but as the dominant species that had reshaped galactic civilization according to human values and human vision. The age of human expansion across the stars had begun, and there was no force in the galaxy capable of stopping it. The quiet species that had once accepted mining rights to 3 asteroids now controlled the fate of trillions of beings across hundreds of worlds. And this was only the beginning of their story among the stars.